Hello. Welcome to the Confidence Cure podcast with Louise. Today I am all on my own and we are talking about confidence after divorce, heartbreak, or just literally just starting over, whether this is from like a job or a business or something like that. And I just feel like it has been such a major topic that I have seen come up so many times. And yeah, so this is why I'm going to touch on it. So, first of all, when you are starting over, whether this is in a new job, whether this is like you've been made redundant, whether this is stopping a business, whether you're going through a divorce or you've broke up with somebody, that feeling can feel so embarrassing. You can feel lonely, confused. It's so exhausting with so many things that are going around in your head. Not the life changes, not just the life changes, this is about what you're thinking about yourself, and then you're worrying about what other people are thinking and everything else. And a lot of people do feel like that. They think that like the grievance part should be over a lot quicker than what it is. So they like, a lot of people, including myself, will feel like, why is this still bothering me? Why aren't I over it? Why aren't I over it yet? So this is why we're going to talk about it quite a bit, because the emotions, the thoughts, the way it shapes you, the way it shapes your life, the way it's like helps you for the next stages of your life are detrimental. And it's so important for you to actually understand exactly what is going on and why it's going on, if that makes sense. So confidence wise, in regards to a heartbreak or being made redundant or a business not actually performing the way it wanted to, can literally destroy your confidence. And not just confidence in the way you look, it can literally give you the self-doubt where you do not want to do anything else moving forward. Like you're scared, like you're feeling like people are judging you even when they're not. And this is all for different reasons, like rejection. So if you've just gone through a divorce or just broken up or something didn't happen the way you wanted it, rejection can actually question you. You can be questioning your worth. Why don't they like me? Why isn't this happening? What why aren't I good enough? Why didn't I just manage to get up and do this on a daily basis? If this is business or something. So rejection can make you really question your worth. And this is where you may go into the next part of your life still with that self-doubt, like questioning it, and you're not even realizing because it's happened subconsciously. Whatever's happened in the past is probably the way that you see things moving forward. So when you are questioning yourself, you will then question yourself going into the next like phase of your life. So it's a really big subject on the way that you're speaking to yourself as well. And then talking about how you speak to yourself, you may often just like blame yourself and like wondering what you did wrong, even when you know you're in the right, even when you know that you've done absolutely everything that you could and you've given it your all. There will be emotions where, because you're changing and everything's changing, you're feeling uncomfortable and you're learning a lot, you will question whether you've done the right thing, whether you were actually in the wrong, whether it was a you problem or something like that. You will start blaming yourself and you will flip things in your head about what you could have done better, about even if it was a really bad situation you was in, you will still like blame yourself. If I'd have just waited a little bit longer, if I was just a little bit nicer, if I'd just done that extra little bit of work, if I'd have just done this, you'll start to literally blame yourself. And that's something that will drop again, destroy your confidence, because you think that you are the culprit or the core of whatever's broken. And another reason why it can drop your confidence is because your identity is literally changed. When you're in a relationship, when you're a business owner, when you are a mom, when you are doing whatever, if one of them things leaves, so like if I like, when we notice when we are attached to something, to a relationship, to a business or something like that, that comes our sole focus and your identity. When people ask you who you are, you'll be like, oh, I'm a business owner, oh, I'm a gym owner, oh, I'm a wife, I'm a mum, I'm this and that. But who are you without all of them things? So a lot of people, when that's being taken away from them, or the role or the relationship or the people, they actually kind of forget who they were beforehand. So if you wasn't practicing like your own like if you wasn't practicing your own daily habits or anything whilst you were in a relationship, whilst you was doing your business, whilst you was doing absolutely anything, when that goes, you will be like, okay, there's a gap. And that gap is okay. What is that? What's missing from me? So if you were fully into yourself and your identity, then even if something didn't work out or something like that, yes, you may be sad, you may have this, but you still know who you are, and you still practice your daily habits. You still put into yourself. That relationship wasn't just absolutely everything to you to the point where it left and then you didn't know what to do. And obviously, we're going through this. That can just be hard in itself because you're now lost. You've now lost something that you were attached to. You're now doubting yourself, but you're also thinking about what other people are thinking about you, and let alone the actual loss and like the trauma that you may have had or whatever is going on, because it would have impacted your life. And this can cause grief because you've got so much going on. So number one, like the grief that nobody actually generally talks about is the grief of something that hasn't even happened yet. So a lot of people we work towards something because we've got a vision, okay? So we work for an ideology, we fall for people for an ideology. And if that doesn't happen, you are literally grieving a future that you thought in your head. So it's not actually your reality. And this happens a lot more. This has happened to me so many times where I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be great or whatever. And then when it doesn't happen, I'm not actually grieving what it was in reality, because in reality, it didn't take up barely any of my space. But the thought I had in my head of what it could have been broke my heart. So you can literally grieve the future that you thought that you was going to have. So something that you thought could have been the best, something that you thought was going to bring you opportunities, something that you thought was going to be safe, something that you thought would make you the happiest, you can grieve that. And that's not really spoken about a lot, and because it sounds, I mentioned this to somebody the other day and they were like, that sounds stupid, how can you grieve something that you've never ever had? But yes, you never physically had it in your hands or like in reality like right now, but in your head in another realm you actually have it, you feel it, you get excited about it, you literally love the actual vision, so you can grieve that. And also when you are going through these changes, and like sometimes when you are grieving, it's not your confidence, it's not this. When you was in that relationship, when you had that business, your confidence was probably okay. Now you've gone through this, your confidence has taken a massive knock. Now the way you move, the way you speak to people, the way you perform is probably different. So you can also forget the business, forget the person, forget that. You can also grieve the person that you used to be when you had none of this self-doubt, when you were your bubbly self and you thought everything was okay and you was thinking about the future and all of this. You can also grieve that as well, which is something, again, not many people actually talk about. We always talk about the grief of the man or the woman or the business or a child or something like that. There's so many different things that you can grieve, and half of the time it is about ourselves, not about what you actually let go. So yeah. And then the grief of feeling ashamed to start over. So the grief of not having the same as everybody else. So when you look around, so say if you're going through a divorce or anything like that, but all your friends are getting married or they're all happily married and they're having kids and they're going on family holidays or something, you will grieve something that you could have potentially had or you did have, and now you're seeing it when everybody else, but you don't have it. Again, if it's a business or something and it hasn't worked out, you can grieve, like I can guarantee you, because your radar will be looking for it. You'll see so many successful people and you will grieve, like while everyone is settling, you're starting again, and you'll have that grieve, like why have I, like at my age I should have done this by now, this should have been successful, and again you'll just start to speak to yourself like that. And because then you'll just start feeling like a failure. If you start looking at what everybody else around you is actually got and doing, you grieve yourself, and not yourself, but your actions, because what you question, like, why couldn't I have just done that? And this is the thing, like we put ourselves down so much to the point where it's not a nice space to be in. Like the way that you speak to yourself during this process is probably not a way you would ever speak to a family member, not to a friend, not even a stranger on the street. So yeah, it can be really harsh in the way that you speak to yourself. And one thing that we don't realise is starting over is not failure. Starting over sometimes is probably one of the biggest things that you can do that for in a positive way. But not many people will see it like that. Like if you actually think about it, if you're leaving a relationship, do you know how much courage that would have taken you to leave an unhealthy situation? If you are changing direction in career or business, again, you're leaving something that makes you feel safe and something that you had a vision for. It means you're growing. Like, every single time you start over, every single time you make a decision, every single time one of these things happens for you or to you, it's actually happening for a reason, but it takes so much courage. It takes so much resilience. It takes so much of you to bring yourself back up and go through this. But to even do these things in the first place, that is probably, there's a very small percent of people that actually do that. And when you are actually looking around at all these successful people that have the family, have the everything, yes, some of them are happy. But however, some of them are just safe, and they stay stuck in a business because they're so used to the drama. They stay in a relationship because they're so used to it, even though they know it's not good for them. They stay close to the toxic people, even though they know it's not good for them, because they are scared to start again. They would prefer to stay stuck in something that is toxic rather than having the courage to stand up for themselves and go, no, this doesn't align with me. No, this isn't right for me. This energy is not good. So if you can change your perspective when you're looking at everybody else going, do you know what, this is actually really good for, why am I not like these or anything? Never wish to be like somebody else. Like, this is your journey, and you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, what's going on in their mind. You only see a very, very, very fraction of what people are saying. You never know what people are actually thinking. I can be speaking to you right now and be thinking something completely different. You never know exactly what's going on. Not everybody is 110% happy. So a lot of people are stuck. A lot of people don't have the courage to actually start again. So change your perspective of, if you're starting again, something hasn't gone right or whatever, look at how much courage this has taken me. I am literally amazing. And that's something you should say to yourself. Every single time I have had to start again, and I have started again, I literally have to count on, I probably run out of fingers and toes now. I've always felt like, oh, but my friends have done this is happening. But do you know what? It has taken so much resilience, so much courage, so many tears, so much fear in me to overcome it. And I wouldn't change it for the world, as hard as it is. So if you are in that situation right now, be proud. Generally be proud of what you are doing, because not many people have the actual courage to do that, to go for what they want, to actually walk away from what they thought they wanted. So you need to really be proud of that. So there are so many emotions that you're going to go through. You're going to be angry, you're going to be sad, you're going to go through some resentment with yourself, you're going to go through this self-doubt with yourself, you're going to think, oh my God, what's life going to be like, because that vision you had is now changing. But don't forget, that is all going to change. You will have a new vision, you will have more passions, you will meet more people, you are stepping into a new era of your life. So if you go into that new era of your life with a positive mindset, you will attract so much. And if you learn from what's happening now and be proud of what you've done and big yourself up about it, you're literally going to smash it. And as one door closes, 10 others open, literally. So the signs that you know that you're overcoming these things, like the self-doubt, there's things from years ago, I'd be like, oh, if I'd have just done this, maybe this. But signs like that does happen, unfortunately. But when you know what's real from a real thought and just literally not a real thought, don't listen to all of your thoughts. What the signs that you should be listening to and looking for within yourself is, are you still blaming yourself? So usually 99% of the time when we leave a situation, it's for a reason, because it's not aligning with us and it's not looking after us. It doesn't make you feel safe or something like that. But as soon as you've made the decision to actually do it, it then flips to okay, have I done this right? Could I have just done this? Could I just waited a little bit longer? Did I do anything wrong? And you start blaming yourself for something that hasn't actually come into fruition. And this is, even though you know when you made the decision it was literally an actual great thing that was happening, or if the situation left you or whatever, you know deep down it was for the right choice. But even then you will still blame yourself. So that's just something that you need to watch yourself doing. Literally put facts down. Is it actually your fault? Because 99% of the time it's not. Sometimes we can handle things a lot better than what we may have, but the situation as such, maybe not. Another thing that you can notice when you are finally rebuilding is that you actually start to trust yourself again with the decisions that you make. When you make a decision as well and you know it's going to take a lot of work with yourself, you know you do it with confidence. You know that, like, yes, I'm going to be able to do this, whether this is going into a new relationship, whether this is starting a new business idea, whether this is whatever. You have the trust that, again, like the self-doubt is starting to ease off. You'll still have it, but like the trust in yourself is starting to rebuild. And another thing, when you are going through the emotions of the self-doubt and the, let's say the right word, self-doubt and the blaming yourself and all of them things, you kind of feel not lonely. Well, yeah, lonely. You kind of be around people sometimes because it's not even good for you, just for the fact like it's just filling a void that you don't know, because obviously you don't know who your authentic self is, because your identity is now lost because you've just lost a lot. So when you're in that space, when you are trying to find your identity again, we kind of settle for mediocre relationships, mediocre jobs, mediocre like anything. When you start trusting yourself again, when you stop blaming yourself, when you stop the self-doubt, you then stop settling because you know your worth. Like, I remember I used to say yes to a lot of things, but as I start to rebuild my life, I'd be like, do you know what? Actually, no, that is just draining my energy. It's not actually like putting anything into me. I stop settling, and I will only settle for, and then I'll never say I'll settle, but like I will always strive to be the like 1% better every single day. But you don't settle for things just because it fills a void, if that makes sense. And another thing to know you're on the right track and you are rebuilding is that you realize that peace matters more than proving something to somebody else. Whether it's like, oh no, I've got this because of this, and it's just like your ego's taking over, you need to prove, like you need to have the last word, and you just want some clarity, you want some of this. All of that won't matter to you. What will be the most important thing to you will be your peace, not having the last word, not having some closure, not having all of them things. It will literally be, do you know what, if I bring this up now, that's actually just going to shake the tree. It's going to bring up past emotions. It's just going to make me angry. I don't really need to talk about it right now. So yeah, realizing that you will take peace over just getting a confrontation or getting some clarity. That's how you know that you are rebuilding, because you're starting to enjoy who you are, and without having the actual things being moved around. So things that are going to help you get there, and that's going to help you actually rebuild your confidence, is daily routines. I always say every single person should have their own daily routines, with and without people. So if you're in a relationship, you've got kids, you've got whatever, you've got a business, you've got teammates or whatever, still have your own daily routine by yourself. That is your anchor into your daily life. That is where you learn about yourself. Have some quiet time, go to the gym by yourself, go for walks, do something by yourself as a daily routine every single day. Whether it's just 10 minutes is 24 hours in a day, you can spare yourself 10 to 30 minutes every single day. Have your own daily routine, because when you do kind of lose something, you've still got something, one thing for yourself that you've already know, that you've already had. So it's just a grounding technique. And I always say, look after your body. Literally, look after your body. The better you feel, the more you are going to act confident. Like we always say, confidence doesn't just come overnight. We don't just go, oh, I'm going to do that when I'm confident. If you start looking after your body, you start feeling good, you start acting confident. You need to do things for yourself to build the confidence. So look after your body. Do things that you wouldn't usually do. Go to the gym. Go for a cold water bath. Eat nutrition. When I say nutrition, I mean like nutrition that is good for you. Just look after your body. The better you feel, the more you attract what you are. It's as simple as that. When you've got that essence of confidence about yourself, people know, and you know as well. Like you'll know the difference between not feeling great and not feeling good. Another way is journaling. If you, like I've mentioned just not so long ago, is the thoughts that you get in your head, and sometimes we believe them. If you knew the percentage of thoughts that we actually have and the percentage of them were actually negative, if you knew that, you would be absolutely shocked. So if you're getting a negative thought or you're self-doubting yourself, literally write it down, journal. This is how I'm feeling right now. Put it with a fact. Okay, where have I learned this from? Is this an actual fact? Like literally question the thoughts that you are getting. And I always say you can write it down, just because sometimes when the thoughts, you get a few seconds to actually respond, or just even notice that they're there and be aware of a thought in the mind. So I just say, if you're getting a thought, journal it down. Literally journal it down and be like, okay, is it actually true? And literally counteract the negative self-doubt thoughts that you're actually getting. Also with journaling, like I said, you can have your own vision. This is for yourself. Envision yourself, not like, you can envision like cars, business, people and all of them things, but envision how you feel. Like journal how you feel today, what's made you feel good. Always focus on the positive. So when you've got the thoughts, and I'm saying write down the negative thoughts, counteract it with a positive and just like with a fact. Okay, is this real or not? Then what I would like you to do is literally write down positive things, even if it's just 3 positives a day. Concentrate on the positives and just literally carry on with journaling. That's something for yourself, something about yourself. When you are journaling, like it's hard when people have kind of lost their identity, but as you're rebuilding it, them things in your journal should be about you. Like, why has that made you feel good? Do you see what I mean? So you want it to be something about yourself. And then going back to yourself, keeping promises to yourself. If you say, I'm going to take myself out for dinner today, do it. If a man came to you and says, oh, I'm going to come and see you, or oh, I'm going to take you for dinner, and they didn't, you'd be annoyed. So, and you wouldn't let them keep on doing it. So why do you do it to yourself? If you say you're going to be doing 10k steps, 15k steps a day, or whatever it is, keep the promise to yourself. Literally, that's how you build self-trust. That's how you build, like, if that's what you set the tone for how other people treat you. So if you are letting yourself down constantly, like, oh no, it's okay, it's fine, I don't need to do that today, you are setting the tone for how everybody else in the world is going to treat you as well. But when you are keeping promises to yourself, you really start to bring your confidence up in with what you are doing. Because when you are setting like an accomplishment for yourself, you then believe that you are going to do it. Your beliefs turn into actions, and then you'll action whatever you believe. So as soon as you start trusting yourself and you know that you're going to put everything into how you're feeling, you're going to do it. And a big one, a big one is getting support, asking for help. Sometimes when you've been through something, you'll feel like a burden. You'll think, I've done this, I've done that. So you'll not feel great about yourself. So then you don't actually want to actually be honest with people and tell people that you are struggling. So this can be if you're going into a new relationship, oh, actually, I'm not very good at this. Can you help me? Like, can you go through this? If it's with a job or if it's a business or something, like focus on your positives. And if there's something that you're not so good at, ask for help. Be confident with it. Like, this is what I'm really good at, but I really struggle on this side. Be confident about it. We can't always be 110% good at absolutely everything. It's about knowing what we're really good at and asking for help with the things that we're not good at and learning. It's all about learning and growing. And being confident, like, you are human. Everybody is human. We all need support at some point. And doing all these small things alone, I really do recommend that you do them, because it proves to you that you can. So say if you're taking yourself out, if you're going traveling by yourself, if you're setting up a business, if you're going into a relationship when you're scared because you've been through certain things, then like prove to yourself that you can. Do these small things, like set yourself little goals, and nobody even needs to know about these goals. Do you know what? I'm actually going to 7 steps. Do you know what? I'm actually just going to do something out of my comfort zone to move the needle in my business. I'm going to do this. So yeah, I think it's really important that you do actually set yourself goals and you actually do these small things. The smallest things literally add up to the biggest things. So do things that push you out your comfort zone, literally, and just prove to yourself that you can do it. And obviously I'm only saying all of this, and I have a lot of experience with starting over. Like I said, I can count on how many hands and feet, well, how many toes and hands I can actually count on how the amount of times that I have literally started over. I've left so many situations, jobs, divorce, family, like so many businesses, like there's so many things that I've had to literally leave, friendships, and every single time I have had to do something like that, as much as it's hurt me or whatever it is, it was always for the right reason. It was always for the bigger reason, and every single time I've left I had the self-doubt. If I'd have just done this, what if it wasn't a me problem or whatever. I've always had that, and it just helps you learn a lot about yourself. If you didn't act in a certain way, then why did I do that? You learn again, like, why did I act that way in that situation? And then it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn, not do it again, and then move forward. You become stronger. You're rebuilding your life in a bigger, better perspective, and in a stronger place. And the more honest you are with yourself, the more powerful it is going to be. If you are honest with yourself, like, what is, like, when you're learning and you're questioning yourself, and like you're looking at all your experiences, and like you are literally looking at how you've responded, what do you actually want, and finding your identity. When you're honest, you're really honest with yourself, you are going to be so powerful. It's just the case you just have to carry on doing it, and it is going to be hard. Every single time it's going to be hard, but always remember, every single thing, if it wasn't hard, nobody would do it, but everything that's hard is teaching you something. Okay, what am I learning right now? So the confidence that you can build is, no matter what, it's not a you thing, it's just teaching you something, and it's there for a reason. So if right now you feel that you are starting over and you're questioning yourself and you're looking at everybody else and you just feel like, I should have done this, I should have done that, or whatever, just know that you shouldn't have. Like, you are not behind, you're exactly where you are meant to be. And there is, every single decision, what's meant to be is going to be like, it's already meant to be. The only thing you need to do is learn about it, find your own identity, and build your own confidence. That's all you need to do. Don't dwell on what's happened, only think about what's happened to grow from it. What can I do better? What can I do? How can I help myself? And starting over, just because you're starting over, sometimes it feels like it's literally the end of the world, but sometimes it can literally be the start of a beautiful life. It is definitely not the end of life. It is literally the start of something beautiful. So really, really learn about yourself more than absolutely anything. Put into yourself more than everything. And sometimes you have to start over because it brings you to somebody who you was always meant to be. So if you're feeling like, yeah, but I didn't leave them, they left me, and this happened, do you know what? That was actually meant to be happening for you, because it's helping you to become somebody that you was always meant to be. And I don't think people, like, if you can learn that you've already got a purpose, whatever your purpose is, like, you will be guided that way. Rather than fighting it, literally just sit and just learn who you are. So yeah, hopefully this is helping. If you are literally feeling like you are stuck, or you are starting over and you are comparing yourself, just know you are definitely 110% not behind. And you are exactly where you're meant to be, and do all the tips and tricks that I've recommended to build your confidence, because I promise you, I've done it 10 times over and I'm still doing it to this day. There are still days where it's just one of them things, we all have it. The self-doubt is real and it feels real. It is not. So practice them tips every single day and they will help. And if you know somebody that is like just going through a divorce or a breakup or something like that, send them this, and hopefully that will help as well. But anyway, thank you for listening.